Hey everybody, what's going on? Stacie Lamar here, and today's subject is parenting then and now. Are the kids of today better off or worse off with the parenting techniques that are practiced today? This up next on Chopping It Up with Stacie Lamar. Hey, yo, everybody, welcome back. And I am joined here for this particular show by my boy Matt. What's up, Matt? How you doing, baby?
I'm doing good, man, and yourself?
I am doing well, thank you so much. And my girl, the OG, chopping it up, Miss Christina. Christina, how you doing, girl?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing well. All right, yay. So you guys know the topic. Let's get to it. All right. So the question is, parenting then and now. Are our children better off with the changes that have taken place over the years, or are they worse off? And I'm referring to all of it. The being able to have a conversation with your kids and physical discipline, for the children. So, Christina, you up first, girl. Parenting back then, as opposed to the way that they want us to do it today. Are our kids better off, or are they worse? Are they worse for those changes that have taken place? What you think?
Well, I think I'm kind of in a unique position because I have 4 kids of my own. 3 of them are adults.
Okay.
My oldest one is 28, and then I have a 15-year-old. And there's something totally different about their childhood to begin with, just by the invention of the internet.
Yeah.
Because that made a completely different child to begin with. You know what I mean? Like my daughter, she has never lived in a world where there wasn't internet. Where anytime since the time that she was using a phone, she had the ability to get on the internet.
Okay.
So when she's in positions where she doesn't have the internet, it's almost like a panic. Like, what am I supposed to do now? That creates a different kind of kid. It's a little kind of running lifelong argument that I have with my 3 older ones, because they say, why is it that we got disciplined this way and you disciplining her this way?
Okay, so what way are they talking about? So
like more physical, I physically I'm sorry I abused them, but I physically would discipline them through their lives.
All right.
Okay?
So stop right there. So your older kids, like you said, you used you did discipline them physically, and now your older kids, I mean, they are good, no problems with them, that
other than all have their general life problems. You know what I mean? The problems don't really escape any kid, any person. You know, so it's not about so much that is, I feel like the physical discipline adds, I hate to say it this way, but kind of adds a little bit of a level of fear to where it keeps them in behavior a little bit better. You know what I mean? As opposed to, she's not scared of me at all. I don't physically discipline her at all, and she's not scared of me at all. At all. And that's not good if they get into positions where they don't, they're not supposed to be, or they start making decisions many times. I had a definite fear of my parents, I would say, and that kept me out of making a lot of bad choices, because I didn't want to deal with the wrath that I knew would come.
Right.
Okay. So I feel like in a lot of ways that their stuff is really, it is missing. But then there's also studies that say that it can create other problems. So that is why I choose to not do that, because I feel that I agree with the science that says that this can create mental issues later in life.
Okay, all right. Matt, what about you, man? Chop that up. What do you say? What you think? Christina had some good things to say there.
Okay, yeah, she has some very, very valid points. And one of the things that she said is fearing your parents.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that it's a good thing and a healthy thing for a child to fear their parent, because just like she said, it kept her from doing things that she might have done if she knew there wasn't going to be any consequences behind it. But so she didn't do it, because it was like, man, if I do this, I'm gonna get my ass towed up. You know what I'm saying? So you would think, oh man, I'm not going to do that. But where it is, but now, since there's no consequences, kids will have a tendency to do things that they shouldn't do because they already know there's not going to be any consequences. By the government stepping in and doing what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if my parents whoop me, I'm going to call the police on.
Yeah.
Not knowing that could actually be a worse thing for them than you just disciplining them.
Right.
It could be a lot worse for them.
Yeah, because
in my mind, I look at it this way. Christina, you got whipping, right?
I what?
You were disciplined physically by your parents, right?
Yes.
Do you feel like that messed you up in life? Or it may have helped you in life?
To be honest, like, more so what I dealt with from, like, my childhood was more mental things, more things that were said to me that were maybe demeaning or things like that. Like, I don't sit and cry or be upset about, I never in my, young adult life or even as a teenager was really upset about physical discipline because it's pain and it goes away. The thing that sticks with a kid is the way that we talk to them. That's what sticks with them. Whether they love themselves or not, comes a lot from their parents' voice.
Wow, good point. Good point. Good point. Damn good point.
You can do a lot more damage with your mouth than you ever can do with your hands. I mean, I'm straight up honest.
And me personally, I'm more of I feel like the government is taking religion out of school or what have you. And what does it say in the Bible? Spare the rod, spoil the child.
Yep, it says it right there in the book.
When they speak of disciplining a child in the Bible, it's a lot worse than anything we ever got. It's a lot worse.
Right.
Because they talk of an actual, I forget the word they use, but the word, when it boils down, it's beat your child. Not just give them a whooping, beat your child. Now, I wouldn't ever go that far in disciplining a child.
Right.
But I do feel that a physical discipline is better than just, okay, well, I'm gonna take your phone, or you can't play on your PS1 anymore, or whatever.
Although if you can find what the kid really loves, you can really get a lot done.
You can actually
really make some changes happen that you want to make happen in their life.
Yeah. But just like you said, they get that little whooping, and when the whooping is over with, it's done. I don't believe in downgrading my kids or talking about them in any kind of way. Mm-hmm. I may say something that they have done was, okay, that was stupid. Why did you do that? Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to say, you're stupid for doing that. Mm-hmm. Because just like you said, if your parent is calling you stupid, that's kind of, that kind of sets in on the kid and starts thinking, my parents think I'm stupid.
So, you guys...
Well, I don't even say that to her because I feel like even if, that's like, if they're doing something at some point, they make the decision to do something somewhere, it seems like a good idea.
Right.
I don't really personally think that even putting like a label on the decision is a good idea with my daughter. This is my experience, what I have found.
Right.
Instead of putting a label on it saying, hey, do you think it would be better if you would have made this choice or that choice or something like that, and kind of like try to steer away from it? Because for my kid, if I say something like that, she's going to go the complete opposite direction. Probably dig her heels in further on whatever this thing is that I have a problem with, you know? And I don't want to do that. I got to figure out, you know, I have a girl, so it's a little more mental than boys. You can just kind of,
I was going to say that.
kind of just tell them what to do, and then they, you know, they'll just, you know.
No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. Okay, so in listening to you guys, you know, first of all, I mean, great freaking conversation, because you guys took it from you hit both ends of the spectrum. Both, you know, you were on one side with the, you know, with the physical, and then you slowly drifted over into what is actually going on today. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys I don't know if you meant to do that, but that's what you did. You started over here, and then you just kind of mailed it, you know, right over onto the other side. Now, I'm going to make a statement here, and I want you guys to say whether you agree or disagree.
Okay.
Now, no matter what, you know, what kind of parent you consider yourself, I mean, I would like to think that we all think that we're good parents. But do you agree that a large portion of parenting is just blind luck? No matter what you do, the child becomes a young adult and then an adult, and they're going to do what the heck they want to do anyway, despite what you may or may not have done. You agree that it's the large portion of it is just luck? Because look at it. I mean, when your child is born, there's no manual that pops out afterward. You know, the doctor doesn't go, okay, wait a minute, wait for your book, wait for your manual on how to raise Jimmy. No, when Jimmy comes out, I mean, you are just trying to figure it out. I mean, you guys.
I mean, in this day and age, there's thousands of books to help you along the way. You know, like.
But it's not a book that is based solely on your child. So, like I'm saying, the child doesn't come out, and then a manual on how to raise the child comes out afterwards. Is what I'm saying. So you are just trying to figure that out. You know, as you go along. You know. You might make some mistakes. You might make some mistakes along the way in the way you parent. You know, your skills there. So what I'm saying is that you're really just trying to figure it out as you go along. You know. So you guys agree with that? That a large portion of it is just blind luck. I mean, you set the rules. You set rules, and basically you kind of do the things that, you know, your parents did to you. You may add some things, you may omit some things that, you know, your parents did, but for the most part, you are literally just throwing spaghetti on the wall and seeing what works. Do you guys agree? Or disagree?
I would agree with that, because, like you're saying, basically, I wouldn't say we go in blindly.
No.
But we try to do what our parents did.
Right.
Now, the thing is, though, what happens is it becomes outdated because of the way society has changed.
Good point.
Society is nowhere near the way it was when we were growing up.
Good point.
It's completely changed.
And I think Christina touched on that as well.
So I would say we start off with our parenting knowledge coming from our parents, and then, like you said, okay, well, my parents used to do this, I'm not going to do that to my child. My parents used to let me get away with stuff like this, but I'm not going to let my child get away with stuff like this, because I think that may become a problem.
Right.
So I think think parenting is more of an evolutional type thing.
Woo, go ahead, boy. Preach it. Preach it.
And you may have, some people may not like the way they was raised, so they may not raise their kids the same way that they were raised. Then you have others that say, well, my mom or my dad or my parents raised me this way. I haven't gotten into any trouble. I haven't gone to prison or anything like that. So I think that's a good way to raise my kids. Just like I'm saying, okay, I'm gonna take this out and I'm gonna add this in, or whatever. But you pretty much kind of raise your kids the same way you were raised.
Right.
Now you do have a lot that will turn around and be, man, I didn't like the way my parents raised me. I got too many whoopings, and they may not want to whoop their kids because that's what they were getting. And they hated it, so they don't want their kids to be mad at them or hate them because I whooped them all the time.
Now, is that something? Is that something you should be concerned with?
My mother will talk to me, but that's why I say kids will do things because there's no consequences. Because my mother would talk to me and tell me to not do stuff, and I would turn around and do it again, and she would tell me, "Okay, you do it again, I'm gonna whoop your ass." Okay, I got to try this, man. Let's see if I was really gonna whoop my ass. I do it again, she would whoop me. So it was like, okay, don't do that no more.
Right.
So there was a consequence behind it.
Right.
But I feel that if you just keep talking to your kids and your kids continuously keep doing the same thing over and over, and all you doing is talking and making threats, eventually they're gonna say, you ain't gonna do nothing, man. What's wrong with that? Don't be telling me you're gonna whoop me. You're not gonna whoop me. And that's the thing, you're doing the same thing. I think there's a healthy medium between the two. I think you should talk to your kids because they should know why they shouldn't do the things that they may have done.
Man, that's it
I
right
think
there.
they need to get a whooping if they do it again. If you actually told them, don't do that no more, and explain to them why they shouldn't do it, and they go off and do it again, then, yeah, they need a little bit more than just a talking to.
Yeah.
But you have kids that you can talk to them and they'll never do that again.
No, that's yeah, for sure. And that's a lot of what, I guess, why also I don't, because she, for the first, say, 10 years of her life, my daughter, she didn't do any. She never got in trouble in school. She got good grades. She never gave me any issues at home. Like, she didn't give me a reason. Like, I'm not going to just, take her on general purpose. You know what I mean?
Come here, let me keep in practice. Come here, let me beat you. Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
but you had to true though, because there are parents. When we was growing up, there was parents that would whoop their kids just because. I don't have a reason to whoop you right now, but I know you did something that you weren't supposed to do, so I'll whoop you.
Yeah,
I'll come across parents that were like that.
No, I have never heard of that one, y'all. Hey, I'm gonna get you just some future stuff or stuff that I didn't know about.
I've came across parents that were like that, man.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, man, this is good because again, you guys covered it all. You went from the physical discipline to where we are now. And Matt, what you said is true, and this is what I believe, is that there has to be a medium, where at times it may be necessary to physically discipline your child. Now, I think what has happened as time has gone on is that the lines have blurred between child abuse and disciplining your child. Now I'm going to give an example. What's the guy's name? The football player, Peterson, played for the Vikings. Anyway, Adrian Peterson. Now remember back in this is a few years back.
I remember.
He got in trouble for physically disciplining his son, and I can't remember how old his son was, but he was pretty young. And I can't remember, so please, forgive me if I misquote, but I think, the child, showed signs of this, this disciplining session, where there were bruises and whatnot. Now, to me, if a child requires medical attention after your disciplinary session, then that, my friends, is child abuse. Now, when I was coming up,
they start way before that. Like,
yeah,
really.
Yeah.
That's like.
Now, when I was coming up,
if an adult needed medical attention, it's a crime.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's well, child abuse is a crime, and it should be. But back in the day, when I was coming up, oh yeah, you would need medical attention. I mean, because down south, man, they would get they call it a switch, which is basically a goddamn tree, and man, they'd get that switch off that tree and hit you, and as soon as it hit you, what's gonna happen? You welled up. And so after it was all said and done, now you're sitting there dabbing it with cotton balls with alcohol, trying to nurse your wounds. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all, my beloved, elders, but yeah, that was child abuse, y'all. I'm sitting there dabbing my wounds. Yeah, that was child abuse. But back in the day, though.
Now, I have a little something about that.
Okay.
On the other hand, though.
Uh-oh, there's another hand to that? Okay.
Yes, because your parents experience that same thing. And that's how they know. They don't know nothing else.
Good point.
And they are raising you the best they know how.
What? Okay, wait. Hold it right there.
I gotta speak like this, so I'm gonna speak like my child like this.
But you just said, yeah.
Now later on they think, man, I really shouldn't have did that. I think I went a little overboard that time when I was little.
Yeah.
But at that time, they're not thinking like that because all they're thinking of is, this is what happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what I tell my kids, my older ones, that have arguments, about the way, the arguments that I was telling you about previously. Because I tell them, when you know better, you do better. Like, I didn't know that it was going to, if maybe spanking, it was just what we did. It wasn't a question,
Exactly.
Okay, wait. Okay, so hold on, you guys. Hold on. Okay, so does that bring us back to what I was asking? Is it, now, maybe, I should recoin that phrase that I made earlier. Maybe not luck, because Matthew, you hit the nail right on the head. But we are in the beginning, especially with the first child. In the beginning, we are just trying to see what works. We may have the base of what we think or how it should go, and that base is what we went through. That's all. Like you said, Matt. That's all we know. That's all we know. That is our foundation for parenting, is what was done to us. So,
and literally, your first kid is like your experimental kid. Like,
that's true. That's very true.
And you kind of you already have a bunch of stuff weeded out because you know it didn't work. It's not just in discipline, but in every portion of parenting.
No,
right?
you are right.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct. The first kid is the experimental kid. Oh, damn. Okay, shouldn't have done that.
Guys,
You be all right. Roll around a little bit. It's all good. But no, that is a correct statement. Okay, so I don't think but I still don't think we've touched on whether now granted, it's in talking to you guys, it's not the easy question that I had originally came into this thing with. I thought it was going to be like an easy question to answer, but in talking to you guys, great answers by the way, it's not that easy. But I'm still looking for an answer. Are the kids better off today as opposed to back in the day when the physical discipline ran rampant, for lack of better words. Like you said, that's all they knew. Their parents did it to them. That's how they knew. They did it to us, and so on and so forth. So for the kids in our generation, and a little bit after, do you think we are better off as a human being, as a person, than the kids that are being brought up today? And I know, trust me, after talking to you guys, I know that's not an easy thing because there's so many variables. And Christina, you nailed that as well, where they're exposed to much, too much more now. The kids are smarter now. The kids are different. So what happened to us necessarily work on them. So
different stuff.
yeah. So, but I'm still looking for that answer. Are they better off with the way that we're doing things now? Because like I said, I think the lines have been blurred. Matt, again, good point. The lines have been blurred. And I think that society has deemed it all child abuse. If you hit your child on the behind with an open hand, it's child abuse. And I think those lines have been blurred. So there is no median. There is none. You hit your kid, it's child abuse. Period. The end. Bam. That's it. You're a bad parent. Shame on you. You should be scorned for life. That's where we are now. So
I would say this.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, answer to your question, I think that the kids, personally, in my own point of view, I think they're a little worse off than we were. And only because there's no consequence.
Okay.
Just like I said. Now, you could take something away from them, something that they really, truly love, and it may work. But then again, I was a kid that could entertain myself. There was no such thing as a punishment.
I know, that was
because
me.
I could entertain myself.
You could.
By myself. And someone's coming in and look at this, I'm going to be laid up, crying and stuff. I'm in there playing with my fingers. Boy, get your ass up and go outside. But when she whooped me, that was completely different. And still, whoop me, now clean up your face and go play. Still put me outside. Okay, well, now I'm going to play and I'm going to forget about it. I just got a butt whooping, but I knew not to do that again.
Right.
And I truly think that because the way the government has stepped in, because nowadays, a lot of people will sit down and read and try to figure out certain things because we have the internet. We can go on the internet and find out why this kid keep doing what they doing. And how should I deal with it? Whereas when we was coming up, there was none of that. It was whoop his ass. Period.
Yeah, period. That was it. That was it.
I know this is not what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So I personally think that no, they shouldn't be tripping on physical disciplining until it gets to a point where, like you said, now if you send your kid to school with a bunch of welts all over his face and body and stuff, that's abuse.
Exactly.
Even though that's how we used to get it, that is abuse. We never looked at it as being abuse. We just got a whooping.
Yeah.
But that is abuse.
Yeah.
But now to grab your son and pop him on his butt a couple times with your open hand, how is that abuse? I don't see that as being abuse. It's still effective. And it also instills that little bit of fear in that child of that parent, because anytime they think about doing something wrong, they're going to think about it. Man, I ain't going to do that, man. I'm going to get a whooping.
Yeah.
Not, man, I'm going to get in trouble and they're going to take my PlayStation.
Yeah.
They're not thinking like that. They're not thinking that, okay, I'm going to get my butt tore up if I do this. they gonna take my PlayStation for a week or two, man. Come on, let's go do this.
Yeah.
You know, you have some that'll do that, and you'll have some that won't.
Yeah.
Right.
But I still think it's healthy for your child to have a certain amount of fear of you, because then it makes them think about what they're doing before they do it.
Yeah.
Whereas if there's no consequences behind the things that they do, they will tend to do it anyway. Now, they may do it, and you can talk to them, and they may never do it again. But if they have that healthy fear in them of their parents, they're not going to do it. You know, or they're going to think about it really hard before they do it. And then later on they'll be like, oh, yeah, I know I'll go get a whooping. And so the next time something comes up, it may be something completely different, but it's something they shouldn't be doing. They're going to think about that.
Yeah. Christina, what you say?
I think that, yes.
They're worse off.
Disciplining your child is the thing to do. And I think that kids are worse off now than they were when we was coming up.
All right, Christina, what do you think? Better off or worse off? Taking everything into consideration, because like I said, when I came into this thing, when we started this show, I really thought it was going to be an easy question to answer, but you guys brought up some really, really good points. And so it's not just your black and white, no gray answer. But it's the answer that I'm trying to, the question that I'm trying to answer. So what do you think? Better off, worse off?
I don't know if I have an answer for you though. Right?
Christina!
No, because I do agree that they are softer. I will say, I think that's almost a fact, to be honest. Like,
Softer.
you look at the kids from, say, 15, 20 years ago, they were little kids, and as adults now, they seem to be even a little bit tougher than the kids that are coming up now.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think that more has to do with the internet. I'm not saying it's the devil, it can be used in great ways.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're not outside. They're not skinning their knees. They're not running around the neighborhood riding their bikes. They're not doing that.
That's another thing. That's another thing. See, that's another element to this whole thing with what is going on with our children today. And again, you brought up a valid point. The kids don't go outside. Remember back in the day, man, they had to freaking threaten to beat you to get you to come home, come in the house. You know, you would leave the house after breakfast, and you wouldn't go back in the house. Well, unless you want to, I don't know, use the bathroom or something. But you wouldn't go back in the house until, the street lights came on. I think that was the rule of thumb for everybody. You know, you wouldn't go back in the house until later that evening. But now that ain't, that is not the way it is right now.
Also, it's not like I would be okay with letting my daughter run the streets like that in this day and age that we live in. Back then, it was fine for me to be like hanging out in the neighborhood and hanging out with my friends and, you know, going into different houses because everybody knew each other and everybody knew that all the kids were safe.
Yeah.
We don't have that luxury these days.
But
that's one thing right there where, just like she's saying, especially for little girls, but it's coming to the point now where it's even getting bad for little boys. You can be out, you let your kids go out and they playing and riding their bike and everything, and all of a sudden, your kids don't come home.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, well, wait a minute, where's my kid?
Yeah.
Right.
Somebody done came up and got friendly with him and gave him some candy. Hey, I got some more candy in my bag, come on.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't know, you can teach them not to.
What was that,
so
Christina?
You can teach those kids not to be involved with strangers, but sometimes you just have those strangers that may come up that, you know, the kid take a liking to right off the bat. And the next thing you know, your kid is gone. Yeah. So that changed up a lot of stuff. Plus, for us, in the time we was growing up, what really caused the change was the gangbanging thing and all of the drive-by shootings and stuff.
Yeah.
You couldn't let your kids be outside because you didn't you never knew when somebody was going to drive by and start shooting at somebody.
Exactly. I mean,
And that's what really started the whole thing about keeping your kids in the house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, now we're battling more like trafficking, like things like
that.
Exactly.
Now you got the human trafficking and stuff going on. So if you're going to take your kids out and let them play and try to roughhouse and stuff like that, you need to be with your kids now.
Yeah.
Whereas you can let your kids go outside. You can sit in the house and watch TV. You listening to see if anything, you hear your kids scream or something.
Yeah.
But otherwise, you figure your kids is out there having a good time with their little friends and everything. You're not thinking about somebody might roll up on them and snatch them up in their car or something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
But nowadays, there's stuff like that is going on.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot. I think as parents, we need to set aside some time for our children to go out and play. You need to go out there and play with them, even if you're not doing nothing, just watch them.
Yeah.
You know, if you sit on the porch, watch them. Don't go too far down the street there. You know, go down and turn around and come on back. You're going over to your friend's house, well, I'm going to walk you over to your friend's house. And when you're ready to come home, you call me and let me know, and I'm going to come and get you.
Yeah. Right. And I need to meet the parents. You know what I mean? Now,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. That kind of stuff.
I mean, that, yeah.
Whereas, like you said, back in the day when we was growing up, the parents looked out for all the kids.
Right.
Yeah, most definitely. They sure did.
Parents don't do that. They don't look out for the kids like that no more. You would usually have a house on your block
that everybody goes to. Yeah.
You don't really have that anymore.
That's because everybody's working now. I mean, god dang it. I mean, everybody's, people got people working 2 jobs and 3 jobs, trying to make ends meet. So it's hard to even have that going on right now because most kids are.
All you can do is try to do things with them on the weekend.
Yeah.
And like I said, be outside when they're outside playing.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be in the house. I got a friend right now. Every time his kid is outside playing, he's outside doing something.
Yeah.
When his kid asks him, can I go ride my bike? And he's not outside, he's not planning on going outside. No, you can't ride your bike right now.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing.
Okay.
But, on the other hand, he lets his son get away with murder.
But see, that's like a misconception. Like Christina, you made the comment as well that you said you have a daughter, so things are a little different, and they are. Don't get me wrong, they are.
Yes.
But like Matt said, they're just as bad if you have a son and I have a boy. Really, I mean, there might be a little bit, just a little bit more wiggle room with a boy, but for the most part, it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw my little 2 cents in there, and then I'm going to a good conversation. God dang it, because this could go on forever. But I'm gonna give my little 2 cents, and then I'm gonna read off what the experts say about the thing, the whole thing. Which, by the way, both of you have kind of covered everything they were actually talking about. But my 2 cents on this subject is. My answer, my humble opinion, y'all, is that I do believe that the kids today, and I'm gonna piggyback off things that both Christina and Matthew said. I do believe the kids are a little worse off than they were when the lines weren't blurred with regards to physical discipline. And the reason why I say that is what Matthew said, is that there is no, and I see it every freaking day when I'm out, there is no fear of consequence. Not necessarily fear of your parents or your parent, but I mean, they're the ones that's going to be dealing out the punishment. So it kind of goes there, but I'm just saying there's no fear of consequence. None. Zip, not a goose egg. And it stems from the parents as well. Now, granted, we are in different times. where the parent isn't in the home as much. Like I said, like we all said, the parent is either, working a lot, trying to make ends meet. They're working 1, 2, sometimes even 3 freaking jobs trying to make ends meet, so they're not there. But you have another responsibility in your child. Okay? So when someone says that little Johnny did something wrong, I'm not saying you take the word for it and go in there and beat the crap out of Johnny, but you at least have to listen to the person, explain to why they called you and what Johnny did. Now, for myself personally, I never took the word of Brittany did this. And then knowing my child, I would go, okay, she normally doesn't do that, so why did she do that? If they say Brittany hit somebody, I'll be like, okay, well, I know she doesn't do that, so why did Brittany hit him or her? What did she do to Brittany? Don't call me down here and say she did this. What made her do what she did? You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying that I'm going to shuck off that, Brittany's not going to have I'll deal with Brittany, but I want to, don't make it seem like she's the only one. But nowadays, and again, I have witnessed this, and I'm quite sure you guys have too, where the parent will come down and jump all over the person that's, saying that their little angel did something wrong. And the kid is sitting there going, I told you my mom was going to get with you, So that there's the kid is like, I'm not going to get in trouble. You in trouble for calling her or him or calling your dad, So so back to what I was saying is that there is no fear of consequence. None. I'm sorry. There is not. Now, there is what you guys both said. There is no happy median. And Christine, I do agree with you that you can do a lot more damage with the words that you say. What is that saying? The pen is mightier than the sword? Well, yes. You can totally screw your kid up by constantly telling them you are no good. You are a piece of blankety blank blah blah blah. You have no future. You should just crawl in a hole and die. Okay, your kid is messed up. And you didn't even touch him, So, So the answer to the question that I posed is that no, there's no fear of consequence. But I do think the reason for that is that the parents nowadays don't want to deal with the rules and regulations, for lack of better words, of what society has placed on parenting. Those lines have been blurred.
The problem is that they tell all the kids at school that if they feel they're being abused, that they can call this number.
I know.
And it's not they shouldn't know, because there are kids that are abused, but like you said, the lines are blurred.
Yeah.
So the kids use that against the parents, and parents don't. Who wants that in their life?
I know.
Like, let's be honest.
No one wants that drama in their life.
Yeah.
So
it's like it is a manipulation tactic that kids use. That's how I feel. You gotta stand back to your kids and say, call them.
Yeah.
That's what I had to do with one of my sons. I said, you know what? You should call them.
Yeah.
I guarantee you're going to be in a way worse situation.
Like Matthew said, because they don't think that through. They don't think that through. They don't realize that if they call, that they can be taken away from their parent, who, for the most part they love, but they can be taken away from their parent, put into some kind of foster or something, or in the system, and now look what you did. You did that to yourself,
Right.
So, I think some way, somehow, and I know the kids are a lot smarter, and they are exposed to so much more now, but I think some way there has to be a way to have the kids have some type of, I keep using fear, that's not the right word that I want, but they need to know that there are consequences for their actions. So like Matthew said, at least they'll freaking think about it before they say it or do it. you know. But and again, God, there's so many variables, and you guys touched on them all, and I'm trying to hit them, you know, without making things, you know, more complicated than they already are. But what do you think is more important? Having your kid, you know, fear you, or having your child feel that they can talk to you about anything now? Which is more important? Your child can come to you and go, "Hey, Dad," this is a girl, okay. "Hey, Dad, I really love Jimmy, and he and I are going to have sex." Now, as a father, I mean, no father wants to hear that. But, or no mother either, really. But the fact that they came to you and told you, you know, it's like, oh, well, damn. Okay, well, I think you and Jimmy should wait, but, you know, you're going to do it anyway. Whether, you know, you're going to go off and, you know, if you're bound and determined to do it. At least she gave you the opportunity to make sure that, you know, it doesn't mess up. You know, let's go down and get you some protection. Let's do this. Let's do, you know, do you guys really want to do it kind of thing? So, what do you think is more important? That they feel they can talk to you, or they fear you, or they fear that, you know, oh man, if my mom finds out that Jimmy and I had sex, she's gonna kill me. You know, which would you rather have?
I would say, if just like I said, if you talk to your kids before the disciplinary action takes place, they understand they can come and talk to you about things. Now, I'm not going to say everything, because I know I would have never talked to my parents about having sex. You know, I wouldn't have did that. So, I think if you sit down and talk to them prior to you ever disciplining them and explain to them why they shouldn't do the things that, whatever it is that they did, they start to kind of get an understanding, and then they kind of get the feeling, they get comfortable.
Yeah.
To the point where, yeah, I know I can go talk. It may only be one parent. I can go talk to my dad about this, but I'm not talking to mom about this.
Right.
You know. Or, vice versa, I can talk to mom about this, but dad, oh, hell no, I ain't telling dad.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. But they still know if anything's going on, I can go talk to my dad about it. Yeah. Or I can go talk to my mom about it and find out, you know, what it is I'm trying to find out about it. Maybe I do feel like I'm ready to have sex, so maybe I should talk to them about sex. Not just say, okay, well, I think I want to sleep with this person, but, you know, when you just start talking about sex, maybe this is something that you haven't talked to your child about. Right. Hey, taking sex education out of school. So
I know, right?
You may have to sit and actually talk to them about, you know, the pros and cons of having sex.
I've forgotten they had taken that out of schools. Man, we look. Remember back in the day, man, we looked forward to that class, boy.
Oh yeah, man, that's it. Oh yeah.
It's like, woo, sex education. Yeah.
No. I ain't into that class. You know, yeah. But like I said, with them taking it out, now this is something you actually have to sit and talk to your kids about. My mom never talked to me about sex. I learned about sex in school.
Yeah.
That's how I learned about sex. So, if your parents didn't talk to you, it's kind of like, how am I going to talk to them about it?
Yeah.
How do I put it? You know, what do I say? So, I think if you talk to your kids before you start whooping on them, I think they'll become comfortable enough to come to you and talk to you about just about anything.
Yeah. What you say, Christina?
Just about anything.
What you say, Christina? You agree with that?
I mean, yeah, I think you gotta have, and you kind of said it without saying it, you kind of have to have a happy medium, you know? You gotta let them know that you're not gonna play, you're not gonna accept certain things, but they gotta be able to feel comfortable enough to come to you Because there's going to be situations where they're really going to need your help, but they don't want to admit that they need your help. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? But they will. And, so you got to be able to have like a happy medium with it, I feel.
So, I think we just, you know what? I think in a roundabout way, guys, I think we just answered the question. In that, but I don't think it's actually the kid's fault. It's the parents' fault, actually, because there is no happy median. I think we've swung so far over, because like you hear parents, they want to try to be their child's friend, which you would like. I mean, you would like for your kid to like you, but that's not what you're there for. You're there to make sure that your child grows up to be a responsible human being. To guide them through the trials and tribulations of life and get them to adulthood and be a responsible human being. Now, if you come out the other side and you guys are, road dogs, I mean, hey, that's a plus, a bonus, but that shouldn't be like the driving force. And I think society has blurred the line of physical discipline, but I think in addition to that, the parents are trying so hard to be the kid's friend that they kind of sort of forget about the whole, parenting thing, if you will. There basically is no happy median. I think that is actually the answer to the question. Is not that they're better. I mean, they're better off or worse. I just think that through no fault of their own, there's no happy median. Now, we were forced to do away, for the most part, with physical discipline, but you can still sit down and have a conversation with your kid and let them know that there will be consequences, and but really it all boils back down to what I said. I mean, it's just we try, we do the best we can. I mean, we throw the spaghetti on the wall. Oh, damn, that's stuck. I'm gonna keep that. I'm gonna put that in the bag. Because that worked. Well, I'll use it again. And if it doesn't, you'd be like, oh man, okay, that didn't work, or I shouldn't have done that. So I just think there is no happy median. That would be the answer to this question: is that there is no happy median. For parenting right now, and because of that, yes, I think they are worse off, because there's no fear of repercussion and or consequence, and we really aren't, because of the way things have fallen with society and the cost of living and whatnot. With people working so much, I don't think people actually have time to have that relationship with their kid. They would rather palm them off on computers and video games and whatnot. Which, Christina, I do agree with you that does make them a lot softer, and that's why you have kids not able to deal with bullying, or some child says to another child, "You're ugly," and that just crushes them. Well, back in the day, you would just be like, "Yo, man, kiss my blankety blank, blah blah blah." And walk on. It wouldn't bother you in the least, because
I can remember being a child in daycare, and this kid would bite me. He bit me 2 or 3 times, and I remember being really upset and going to the daycare lady and her saying to me, "Bite him back." So I did. That kid never bit me again, though. I would tell you.
I know he didn't.
Yeah, exactly. Because now he understood. If I bite up, there's going to be a consequence behind this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just like you said, as long as you didn't bite him, he kept biting you.
Yeah. No,
he kept biting you because there was no repercussion behind it.
Yeah.
But as soon as you didn't bite, you were like, oh, yeah, man, I ain't doing that no more. That hurts. I didn't even know it felt like that.
And I was really upset. I remember being really, it obviously was a standout moment if I can tell you about it. And I was like, dude, right? Wow. I was really, and I came at him pretty hard too. He got a good fight out of me.
Dang, man. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, like I said, this one could go on forever, because there's so many variables, But do you guys agree that I think I think I narrowed it down to basically it all boils down to really there is no happy median right now. Would you guys say that was a true statement?
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Yeah. Christina, what you say?
It's hard. You gotta manage it for every kid is different. So there's no blanket answer because there's no blanket people. You know? Like in your own family, when you have multiple kids, you have to change the style according to the child.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, because just like you said, every child's going to be different. You can have one that's always into something, and you just always got to get at them all the time about stuff they doing. And then you got this other one that never does anything, and you may even be looking like, damn, did I produce that one? But wait a minute, why was this one this way and this one this way? Wait a minute. I need a DNA test. You don't know.
A lot of times there'll be, families kids that come from the same two parents, raised in the same household. One goes off to be, a felon or whatever, and another one goes off, and goes a different direction. And why did those two different kids make that choice? I don't think that it was the parenting. I think it was the person.
Yeah. So, okay. So I think that's where we're gonna leave this is that there unfortunately is no happy median, and really for the parents again it boils. I mean the responsibility does fall on the parent, but with the way things are nowadays, it's kind of hard to have that one-on-one or that relationship with your child to be able to sit down and talk to them, because hell, the parents are on a paper chase right now. Things are. I mean, the inflation is insane. I mean, I think I read somewhere they're about to raise the minimum wage again. I mean, they raised it. Yeah, they raised it last year. They're about to raise it again. I think it's like January 1st, I think. And so they're going to go to 15.50. Right now it's 15. So they're going to go 15.50, I think. And
that just makes everything else higher.
Thank you. That is not, and for I know we're talking about kids right now, but just on a side note, people who make the rules and do all these things, man, freaking wake up, because it doesn't help. Yes, for about 2 paychecks, I'm sitting there going, yeah, living la vida loca. But once the employers and the manufacturers of goods raise the prices to compensate, where are we? We're right back where we started.
Yeah.
So what good? What good is that?
It's going to be taxed.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. It's going to be taxed.
So
yeah, you may get a little bit more money, but you get 50 cents more, they going to take 25. So where did you come up at?
All right. So anyway, hey y'all,
everything's going up too.
Yeah, that's another show.
Going up.
That's another show.
Going up. Come on.
But so to tie that into what we were talking about, so no, it doesn't give the parent an opportunity to get a little breathing room to spend more time, building that bond and with the child.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, it normally lasts about 2 paychecks where you're like, whoa, oh man, this is nice. I can afford to buy name brand cereal now. But no, hey girl, that stuff is expensive. I relish them Rice Krispies. But anyway, it doesn't. After everything, compensate. Everybody raises their prices to compensate. The parent is still out trying to make a living, so it doesn't put the parent in the household. So so they're back on the computer playing the video games, and worst of all, they're relying on friends for the answers in life that they need. They're going and asking Pookie about sex as opposed to coming to you, because even if they wanted to, they couldn't because you are working all the time. So
or relying on a la Google.
Or Google, or what's that chick name? Alexa. Oh, that is Google, right? Alexa, that is Google, I think. All right, before we go.
Look, another thing. A lot of these video games are violent.
Yeah.
And they seeing that, and they thinking, well, go out and try some of that stuff, not knowing. Because, like you said, you haven't had the time to spend with them to let them know, hey, man, you know, this stuff you playing on this game, man, you can't do this. This is not something that you can do.
Yeah.
You will have kids that they can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just like the little boy that I think he killed the little girl doing wrestling moves on.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, I think he did I forget what it was he did to her, but it was some kind of wrestling move. And he killed the little girl. But he didn't know.
Wow.
He didn't know that, man, this stuff on TV is actually really fake. Yeah, they do these moves, and if you do this stuff, you slam somebody on the street like that, you're going to kill them. Or you're going to really injure them really bad.
You're going to get the beating of your life.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But then,
maybe,
you know, but they see this stuff going on TV, and it's like, well, ain't nobody getting hurt on there. Every now and then I see somebody get their head busted or something, but I'm seeing these dudes getting slammed, jumping off the ropes and slamming people and all this stuff. Ain't nobody getting hurt. They don't know it.
Okay.
They don't know it. Same thing with them little video games. You got all these Grand Theft Auto and all this stuff where these people are actually shooting people and stealing cars and stuff. And that stuff may be instilled in their mind. They get a little bit older, and next thing you know, it's like, hey, my kid is out here doing Grand Theft Auto for real. So, and that too, it's crazy how, just like you guys were saying, society has softened our kids, but then they show them all of this violent stuff.
Yeah.
And brought it and have them playing all of these violent ass games. Hey, they don't know no better. They'll be out there playing with their little friends doing stuff, and the next thing you know, a few years later, well, sir, we're calling you to let you know that we got your son locked up. For what? Well, he committed a murder. He did what?
Yeah.
He committed a murder. And then you start talking to him, man, what made you do that? Well, I'm thinking on Grand Theft Auto. I didn't know.
Yeah, that's true. All right, guys, really quick. Let me just I just want to touch on, guys. I just want to touch on what the experts say on this topic. All right, so physically disciplining your child does not teach them about responsibility, conscious development, and self-control. Hitting children does not teach them right from wrong. So basically, in the moment, they know that, okay, I'm getting, catching a beat down for something that I did, but basically it's only in the moment. It's only in the moment. All right, spanking. Okay, well, no, hold on. See, I'm just saying, this is what the experts are saying here.
Okay.
All right, so it says spanking gets the child's attention, but they have not internalized why they should do the right thing in the future. Christina, you touched on this. They may behave when the adult is there, but do whatever the heck they want to do when you're not. So,
right.
So that was something that you touched on.
Yes.
It says researchers have found that spanking can elevate a child's aggression levels, as well as diminish the quality of the parent-child relationship. Other studies have documented that physical discipline can escalate into abuse. Now we know that. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. We've been talking about that throughout the show. But it says that if you spank your child, you basically teach them that hitting is the way to get things done, for them to get what they want. You beat them to get what you want out of them, so they're going to go out and beat other kids or whatever to get what they want. So it just raises their level of aggression. Now here's a good. Oh damn! All right, so wait. All right, so parents of 3 to 5 year old children, most likely when you spank them, they don't know the reasoning of why they were being spanked. Again, this is in the moment, and yes, you can tell them, because remember, Matt, back in the day, man, you would get a sermon as you were getting beat. I used to hate that. Didn't I tell you not to do this? Don't you ever do that again. And don't let them mess up, because if they miss a beat, they're like, didn't I do? Whoa. I can't help because you missed a word. You can't start over, But anyway, this is saying the same thing, that if the younger children, you go spanking on them, they're not really they're gonna know that, okay, something happened, I did something, and the parent is mad, but what did I do? Because they're at the age where they're not really gonna understand what you're trying to tell them, because so speaking to them, but they're also saying that to hit a child that young, you're not doing any good. Basically, you're not doing anything really. You're just you're taking your frustration out on that little 3 to 5 year old. So that is some of the highlights of what the experts were saying. I happen to agree with the one that says, and Matt, you did touch on this by saying you have to explain to them prior to the actual physical disciplining. You sit them down, go, okay, look, you shouldn't do this, or you don't need to be doing this because X, Y, Z. And if you continue to do X, Y, Z, then this is gonna happen. So I happen to agree with that. That before putting the smack down, so to speak, that they should know why, or they should know. They should be able to internalize why this is happening. Why am I getting my behind whooped? Well, because of X, Y, Z. Okay. So that's what the experts are saying. The aggression thing, I think that's more with the individual person, the individual child. I don't know that necessarily that. I know they try to blame that, on upbringing, and I guess there's some truth to it, maybe. Something I would have to look into later. Hell, they tried to say that about Will Smith. Well, Will slapped Chris Rock because his dad beat his mom or something. Man, shut up. Really? Come on. No. We talked about we discussed that one. No, Will had some things going on. Well, because his daddy was Will just had some things going on. But so that's what the experts say. And so hey, that was riveting conversation. And really, basically, guys, what it boils down to, if you are a parent, my hat goes off to you, because it ain't easy, y'all. It really isn't. It ain't easy. With everything that's going on today, and everything that your children are exposed to, it's not easy. So if you are a parent that is at least taking the time to be there for your child, hats off to you. Hats off to you. Okay? If you like the content, hit that subscribe and like button, and for goodness sake, don't forget to hit that notification bell, because this is where you want to be. Alright? I'm Stacie Lamar. This is Chopping It Up with Stacie Lamar, and I'll see you on the next upload.